How would you describe 300 Rise of an Empire? How does it relate to the original 300?
Well, first of all, it's not a sequel to the first film. This is we call it a companion film that actually explores the broader conflict that was unfolding across Greece at the same time as the 300 Spartans standing in Thermopylae. So it takes place during the same time, but in an entirely different battlefield, which is the sea.
Fantastic. This film brings Xerxes back. Can you tell us where we find him in this film and the role he plays in the battle?
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is that in this film we have the opportunity to explore a little bit of Xerxes' backstory. I think that was very stimulating for me because revisiting a character after 6 years and now trying to bring more humanity, more dimensions to this character, and through this backstory we learn about him, and we understand where does he come from. So we have him as a man, and then we go into a transformation until he becomes the God King that we met in the first film.
Who is Artemisia and what is her interaction with Xerxes?
Artemisia is sort of like a step sister for Xerxes, and it's a very interesting character because I think they complement each other. They're very different than each other, and Artemisia is more like a warrior, and Xerxes is, I would say, he's the strategist. He's the brain. He's trying to articulate everything, and together they will, try to keep conquering the world, which was what Darius, Xerxes' father, was doing before they killed him. So the interesting thing is that Artemisia reflects. It's sort of like a mirror. She reflects Xerxes' fragilities and vulnerability, which I think it was very interesting to bring more humanity to the character. In the first film, you saw the God King, and I think people were like asking, who is this guy, and where does he come from? And in this film, I think you're going to have the opportunity to understand, who was Xerxes, who was the man before the God King.
What was it like working with Eva Green?
Eva was great. We met a couple of days before shooting, and she was very committed to the part. We had conversations about that relationship, what we thought that would be interesting for Xerxes and Artemisia. We kind of came up with a little backstory, and it's interesting because we are working together, but I don't work with her directly because, in order for me to play a giant, a 9 feet tall character, I have to work by myself. So I'm constantly talking to a tennis ball. Believe it or not, that's the process. I have Eva here, playing Artemisia, but she's feeding me the lines, but I'm, all the time actually focusing in a little dot. That's just in order to have me a 9 feet tall giant. It's interesting. It's a very different way of working. It's much more technical in that way, but I think that it taught me a lot of things.